What?
Ooga fucking ooga cunts. Welcome to Musicaliteracy, where tonight we are talking about music from the 1960s, as well as that very, very, very cowardly Canadian rapper Drake, who could not even stand up to a little bit of a push from Pusha T.
No.
But we're not talking about that yet. We're going to be talking about him having an unreleased Michael Jackson track. Fuck. Tonight I got Trippy. I got Full Metal Pickle. I got Ace of Skull. How the fuck you guys doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing good. It's just fucking hot as balls outside.
Yeah, it's ridiculous here too, and I'm fucking Canadian.
Don't fucking kid with us, Trippy. We know you don't go outside.
I do. I went outside and I was like, ah! And I started burning, so I ran back in.
Aha.
Oh, I just now got the notification for us being live.
Yeah,
so how you
so
doing,
did I.
Pickle and Ace?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Ace.
I'm doing good, you know. Just fucking drinking beers, fucking ready to talk about some fucking awesome decade in music.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready for this shit.
60s, dude. The 60s was responsible for like 98% of the music that you hear in action movies.
And like, there's just so much fucking awesome shit that went on. And like, I mean, fucking that's kind of the roots of punk music. Like that started there with the Kinks. And like, yeah, fucking heavy metal. Like there's so much fucking good shit.
And it got it a Vita, but that's later.
Right? Like Woodstock. Woodstock was at the end of the 60s.
Yep.
Where most bands were welcome to come and perform, but one.
And which one was the one that was like banned from?
The Doors. They were told that if they
right.
arrived, that they would have been arrested on site.
It wasn't that like shortly after Jim Morrison showed his cock on stage.
It's still debated whether he actually showed his penis or not. Nobody knows for sure if it actually happened.
I'm sure there's some people who are front row who know if it happened for sure.
Right. I mean, he took that.
Come on. You know they were on so many drugs they don't know.
True. Woo! We gotta eat up some time, boys. We only got 8 viewers.
Yeah, what the fuck, motherfuckers?
So how was everybody's 4th of July?
Man, I didn't celebrate it. I'm fucking Canadian.
Nobody's talking.
How was your Canada Day?
Damn it.
How was Canada Day?
Canada Day, I don't celebrate that either. I'm fucking Canadian and you know it.
Hey. What was it all about, though?
I don't know. Our country became a thing or something. It's like a birthday party for a shit country. You know, you all got that cousin you don't like, and you don't show up to his birthday party. It's like that.
Right.
God
because
damn, this country sucks.
Full Metal Pickle.
Wait. Is Smeckle saying he's my cousin?
I don't know.
I think so.
If I was your cousin, I wouldn't show up to your birthday.
I wouldn't show up to yours either.
I could see a slight resemblance between the Avatar and, Pickle. I could see a slight resemblance.
You share a certain body shape.
Avocado
and hair structure.
Avocado, right? Ooga fucking ooga. Welcome
So,
to
the 1960s.
I got your intro just now.
The three of you guys are old enough to remember the 1960s. I'm a little too young for that.
I think us three combined could remember it, but besides that, nope.
No.
Have we not reached your time yet?
Hell no. We still got 20
God,
years,
you guys
man.
have aged poorly.
We still got 20 years.
I don't know
before
what
we
you're
hit my
talking
time.
about. I am one handsome motherfucker.
Except for Ace. Ace is a very attractive man.
Yeah, I'd put it in his butt.
What
See, I look like what Chuck would look like if he was good looking.
Anyway, during the 1960s, who the fuck did we have? Had Elvis died yet?
Nope.
No.
We had Motown. We had the Temptations coming to power and doing their little "I Got Sunshine" and snapping and pointing at the camera.
We had Bob Dylan.
Yeah, Bob Dylan, one of the most influential artists of all time. Probably.
Influential writers.
Writers.
Mamas and Papas. Who else was there?
Big Mama Cass, who died by eating a ham sandwich.
And I'm sure the Muslims were like, see, that's what happens when you eat the pork.
That is what happens when you do not eat halal. I sound Indian.
Yep. That's racist.
That's a racist. Why would you think that I am Indian just because I sound like one? Anyways. Yeah, the mamas and papas.
There's that one band that you never shut up about.
Oh, the Beatles.
Yeah, that was mid 60s.
Actually, I think 1962 actually was when they first started getting prominence.
Over in England, it was. I want to say in '64 they came over and did the Ed Sullivan Show.
Yeah, I believe it was other. Yeah, I think you'll be right. It was 64. I mean, the Supremes were pretty big in the 60s. Roy Orbison, there's a big name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Goddamn fucking. And like a lot of people like to think of like Jimi Hendrix and people like that.
Jimi Hendrix, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Being in the
Guitar
70s.
god.
But Hendrix fucking showed up in '67. Like his major hit was "Hey Joe."
Yeah, you know, during the British invasion, Hendrix actually went over to Britain and did a little bit of an American invasion himself. I think he was in a band with Eric Clapton, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because what happened with Hendrix was he was with the 101st Airborne out of Fort Campbell, Tennessee. And then right when he got out, he moved to Clarksville, which is the neighboring town of the military base. And, you know, he was playing guitar already at that point, blah, blah, blah. So he got on like a little circuit in this type of area where they were, you know, just going around kind of playing more like folk music with a little bit of rock to it. And like he got a little more of the rock influence, and he was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm going over to England. Went over to England, and there was somebody who fucking was like, you know what, you're pretty fucking badass, so let's fucking actually get you going on some shit. Boosted him up, and then he fucking took off.
I think he was a lead guitarist in one of Clapton's bands for a very short period of time.
He played with Little Richard too, I want to say.
I think you're right. But Clapton kicked him out. He was like, look, dude, listen, I don't want to have any problems with you, but you have a big...
You have a big what? What was that, Trippy? Since he is now gone, we could only make assumptions.
Yeah, the word big is usually followed by something.
Right?
I'm gonna guess penis.
Penis.
Well,
He was
Jimi
born.
Hendrix was a black man, and you know what they say about the black men.
From what I hear, he was only half black. For all you know, you got
You got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, you know, it's got to work out somewhat like that, right?
This is true. This is true.
Well, we got a Tama the Hun in the chat. She's going to be on the show after this one. How would you guys feel about bringing her in right now? She seems to know a lot about this shit.
Oh yeah, I was
She'd be
good.
great.
Well, like, and all the bands that she's bringing up, like, I literally have the
God
list.
damn it.
Shut up, Trippy. Grown-ups are talking.
I X'd out all my shit.
So you were about to say he has a big, and you just cut off at big. What does he have a big?
What?
You
No.
were talking about Jimi Hendrix.
No, I was going to say that Jimi Hendrix, when he was in the band with Clapton, he had Clapton told him, like, look, dude, you have a bigger stage presence than mine, and I'm supposed to be the lead singer.
But
So
what I'm
he
saying
basically
is
said, you got to get your own band, and you'll be huge. He wanted to, what?
it cut off at big. So we were making assumptions while you were gone of what did he have a big of.
Big ass nose. I know that.
Man, that's racist. We were just talking about his big black cock.
That's true. Maybe. I don't know. He never showed his cock. That was Jim Morrison. Don't get him mixed up.
Also very true.
He showed his
Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison. How large was he? Because he doesn't look like the type of man that would have a big dick, but he acted like the type of man who had a big dick.
Oh yeah, that fucking big personality. But I don't know about his dick. I've never saw it.
Yeah, I don't know.
He had one of those personalities like that they showed off pretty well in the movie The Doors. Like there was a female photographer, and she was like, unbutton your shirt, and he looked at her and he was like, no, you do it. And then he ended up fucking her.
Nice.
So that's the kind of guy he was. I believe he was actually married at the time, and the chick that was taking the pictures with him and her did like a bloodletting ceremony in her fucking house while they were having sex. Like they filled up a cup and they drank each other's blood.
Well, and that's fucking insane. But one thing I did want to bring up about the whole fucking early 60s is The Wall of Sound by Phil Spector. Like, you guys know what that is?
Yes, I do know what it is. Other artists use it too.
Yeah. You got to inform me.
It's a recording style. It's using layering and multiple speaker setups to make the sound fuller and fuller. It's how some of like the sound for like the White Album and shit were done.
Well, they covered up that hiss that a lot of those songs would have.
It's not just that. What he did, he literally had a room where it was a bunch of fucking different instruments, right? So like he could have a regular piano, an electric piano, and a harpsichord, and like he had all of them play the same exact notes, and then he layered it. So like like he was saying, it makes it sound fuller, but it was literally a fucking room. But at the same time, they had smaller individual booths.
Okay, one second. I'm sorry. We have Jacob Novo in the chat. He says, "Wait, I walk in on people talking about big dicks. I'm confused." Yeah, Jacob, they can be big too.
Yeah, they can have big dicks and be fucking. Oh, never mind.
Go on. That's all I had to say.
The Wall of Sound. So they would have all these different instruments, and they would all play the same chords. Correct?
Yes.
So you would get like some harp and some rhythm guitar and some fucking electric, and a little bit of this, and a little bit of piano. Like I didn't even know this, but speaking of other bands, or going back to the Jim Morrison, the Doors, they didn't even have a bass player.
Nope.
Their pianist did it with his left hand.
Manzarek, yeah.
Yes, sir. That's why you'd see him playing two different keyboards.
The man's fucking amazing, or was amazing. I've seen him perform live, and it's mind-blowing to see.
Now we got 3 schmeckles, and he still doesn't have a big dick. That's crazy.
And if you add them up, they make average.
They say
the build up to that was beautiful too. If you add them up, they're average.
I think if you take all 3 of the apes, they're 2 inches apiece. So you're at like 6 inches. You're close.
I'm getting there.
Yeah. Except for, obviously one of them's going to be deformed because it's the third clone. So it might be a little shorter.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little smaller, a little crooked. It has a weird board on it, but it's at the bottom. You can barely see that part.
It's got a board on it?
Wart.
A wart. I miss hearing things, misreading and shit today. So yeah, we didn't even get into the good peoples yet, or the other good peoples, rather.
Right.
I mean, shit, you had Buffalo Springfield with their... Which song was that they did? I always forget the damn title.
God, it ain't something.
What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
I think it was just called Children, wasn't it?
No.
Not sure. It was their biggest hit, I think, though.
Yeah, it was their biggest hit. And freaking, that's the thing about it. Like, the name of it is completely different than what people think the name actually is.
Is it For What It's Worth?
Yeah, For What It's Worth. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
so the actual name
was I think it was that song was about the California riots or protests, California protests in the 60s.
Yeah.
That's what it's actually about.
Like California Dreamin', supposedly that's about the Vietnam War and like how soldiers want to come home and they're dreaming about California.
That would be the Mamas and the Papas.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But, then you also had groups like Cream and
Eric Clapton.
Yep. New Edition.
New Edition. Why did my mind go directly to the New Kids on the Block? That's a little.
Thank you. Yes.
No. Fuck you. New Edition. Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers.
Oh, Kenny Rogers. Don't remind us of songs. He had some good songs, but he's a ridiculous man.
I think you got that name wrong, dude, because if you look up New Edition, it's 4 black guys.
Oh shit!
Yeah, Kenny Rogers not one of those.
Wrong band.
It looks like a boy band from like
God
1989. Ah,
I
shit.
always get the name mixed up.
New Edition.
Well, and
Is it Kenny Rogers and the First Edition?
and we also can't ignore like the Who, the fucking Kinks, like all those fucking bands. Like I was saying, they kind of broke ground for like that fucking almost like vocal style for punk music to start developing the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. Well, if it helps at all, Pickle, it says Kenny Rogers in the First Edition.
First edition. It's easy
With
mistake.
67 through 75.
I always mix it up.
It's not an easy mistake. It's not acceptable. You've done wrong. Sniggles does not forget or forgive. Pickle.
Yeah, people out
Wash
there.
and repeat.
New Edition. Let me look this up, and it's just 4
Wait. Did he just say wash and repeat?
I said rinse and repeat.
Okay, good.
Rinse and repeat with your pubes. Make sure you rinse and repeat them pubes.
With some of your pubes, rinse and repeat and repeat and repeat.
Yeah. I don't have
Get all
those
those bugs out of there.
right?
Or
Get all
just
that
shave
out.
it off. Shave your pubes off. Get rid of your fucking pubes.
Yeah, so then when you send flaccid dick pics to women, they're like, "Oh, you're 12."
Man, if you got a 12-year-old looking dick, there's something wrong with you, Trippy. You're in your
Yeah.
I told you. The phone tells me file size too large to send every time I take a dick pic and try to send it. Jeez.
Oh, man, if you zoom in that far, it's
Yeah,
gonna
true.
make anything look huge.
Exactly.
But as
Those are the
far as
tricks.
1960s music goes, would that be the time we got the Beach Boys?
Yes.
Yep.
Early 60s. Matter of fact, I was just watching something on that, and they said that a lot of the Beach Boys songs were actually pretty much the beat from a different band song that was really huge. And then they just changed the lyrics to like surfer rock lyrics.
Oh, no, a couple of their songs, or at least one. I can't remember which one. I think it was Surfing USA was blatantly stolen.
Yeah. It was actually several of their songs, but like as they progressed, they were one of those bands that were like, they were basically copying songs that they had heard and changing them. And then as they got further into their, their music, they changed their style up, and their writer actually started writing completely original songs. So, I mean, a little bit of a recovery,
They're one of those bands that I hate that I love.
Oh, because it's so happy.
It's just fucking fun music,
It is. It can get like the gangsterest motherfucker to bob his head.
Exactly.
It's pretty good shit.
Speaking of fucking gangsterist type shit, if you look at some of Bob Dylan's early work, like the way he's like rhyming and fucking going off, like it is kind of similar to fucking what we know of rap nowadays.
Yeah, like he rhymed in a lot of his songs, and he did like chain rhymes that would go on for 15, 20 seconds, and then he would go back to singing.
Yeah.
And some people credit him as being one of the first rappers, or at least giving people the idea of rap.
Maybe one of the first mumble rappers.
Maybe.
Hello, Tema.
Hello, can you guys hear my fan? Because I will stop this
hello.
too.
We can vaguely hear it, and it's infuriating me.
Okay.
Turn it up.
Boiled
Turn
to
the knob
death.
off.
The rest of us are doing it.
Okay.
I got central air, bitch. What are you talking about? I got central air and a lack of vitamin D.
Didn't have no fucking fans back in the 1960s.
Yeah, they did. They
Probably.
were steel. You could chop a carrot in them motherfuckers.
Shit.
That's when Darwinism was at its peak.
Oh yeah, dude. And they didn't have a fence around them. It was bare blades.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful time. We need to go back to that.
Could you imagine
Yeah.
like sneezing and it bounces off the fan and hits you in the forehead?
Ew.
Yep, probably happened a lot. It was also, the 60s was also the era when you could just fuck your secretary. Nobody'd say anything.
Man, and I think that's completely all right as long as you're not saying, "Hey, you're fired if you don't fuck me."
Right.
Unethical, maybe. Illegal, Probably shouldn't be.
Maybe. I don't know.
It really depends. Oh.
No, as long as there's no implication that they're going to lose their job if they don't do it, or that their job's going to get harder or anything like that, then yeah, fuck your secretary. Sometimes secretaries are attractive. Sometimes secretaries are attractive and attracted to their boss.
True.
Or their paychecks or their paybooks, you know.
Well, you know what? If she's sleeping with him for his money and not to protect her own, that's okay too.
And if you are out there and you are planning on doing this, just remember, a nut in the butt does not equal a bubble in the gut.
Mm-hmm. It's very true. Unless you do it doggy style and a little bit dribbles out of there and goes in the other hole, then you get a booty baby.
So, Atema, what were the 60s like?
I couldn't tell you. I was born a full almost 10 years later.
I wasn't accusing you of being from the 60s. You just seem to know a lot about the 60s.
Well, yeah, because, I'm a kid of the 80s. So, we got to listen to how the 60s were just so much better when I was a kid. So, but music-wise, it's what we all had to listen to because that was on the freaking radio at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And then, being a big old druggie. Lovely.
Sorry.
Being a big old druggie in the 90s, you got to learn a lot about the 60s because that's what there was.
Free
to
love,
listen to. Free love, and it was the justification for being sluts, basically. So we all, I followed the Grateful Dead for a little while, so I got to hear a lot of music from the 60s.
But that was more so like the late 60s, like the early 60s. It was interesting because, it was really bland, right?
We were still shaking off them 50s, dude.
Yeah,
and everything was still black and white.
Coming down from that high. And like the big fucking turning point of the 60s was like JFK got assassinated. And then all of a sudden, like there was a big like fucking uptick in like the music scene and like fucking how people were expressing themselves. And like, because obviously fucking Kennedy's assassination really did affect the country in a fucked up way where people like they took their shit out not to be fucking super aggressive, but also the civil rights movement at the same time, like they were making fucking strides with that. So like there was an explosion of fucking like from 74 on or 64 on.
Well, yeah.
3.
66 is really where everything started kicking off if you look at it historically and if you talk to people. I mean, 66 is when we started getting like bra burners and stuff, and then it all kind of culminated and peaked at 69. The Summer of Love was kind of when the 60s.
I don't know why I said 67.
No, 69.
Hey.
But music-wise, the early 60s was kind of bland. I mean, you're talking about, 3 chords, 4 drum lines, and, 2 bass drum or bass guitar lines was pretty much the entirety of music. It was so diluted and regulated and controlled about what you were allowed to say. It was still, like you guys were saying earlier, it was a lot like the 50s. Like, really, it was.
Right. I was right. You were wrong. Summer of Love was 1967. Trippy wins.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Fatality.
Oh.
Man, Tema, the first time I bring you on this shit and you get outsmarted by Trippy.
It's only a 2-year difference, man. And how could you sit there and not think that 69 was a Summer of Love? It's a 69.
Right. Well, I think it's because I get Woodstock and the Summer of Love convoluted, and they were 2 different years.
Yep. I think my buddy Rusty said that he's actually on the cover or the back cover of the Woodstock record. It's got those big group pictures of people. And he said that you can see him on there. I don't know exactly where, but he said he's naked as a jaybird, and his parents were like on LSD, letting him run around.
Yeah, you like that story? According to my grandmother, her breast can be seen in one of the videos.
Oh, that's gotta make you
look up your
feel
grandma's
good.
titties. I'm gonna find your grandma's titties, and I'm gonna send you gifts. And you're gonna be, wow, look at those tits.
Yeah.
I can't believe you came out of those tits.
He'll do it too.
So wrong.
Probably not. I've never made a GIF before, so.
A GIF?
It's
You
a
need some
GIF.
peanut butter?
It's a GIF.
I was gonna say, choosy moms choose GIF. Okay.
Oh God, are you destroying language again?
No, relax, dear. Sorry, I'm getting commentary from the peanut gallery over here.
Tama, you said something about following the Grateful Dead for a while.
Yes.
You mean like physically following them, like as a groupie?
Oh no, not as a groupie. I was a Vendy.
Well, either way, you toured with them.
I didn't tour with them. I toured with an old guy that made acid.
Even
But, yeah.
better. Tell us
Right?
that.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, he's passed on now, so I guess I can. He
Well, just don't say his first, middle, and last name, and I think we're
I
good.
actually never knew his real name. He
Oh,
had a
was it
synonym
Vince
that
Piper?
everybody knew, the Papa Smurf.
Of course,
Well-
it's Papa Smurf.
I think I've heard him mentioned in music documentaries.
Oh God, are you serious?
It might have been a different
Shit.
Papa Smurf, to be honest.
There was one. There was one with a brightly colored bus and a large chemical lab in the back, but we didn't talk about the lab in the back. It was fun. We did like 3 Dead shows and a whole bunch of festivals and music tours.
Nice.
Did he drive a Volkswagen bus?
No, it was a school bus from the 50s.
Oh no shit! That's
Yeah.
fucking even better.
It
Nice.
was brightly colored, and we got to add more paint to it as time went on, and it was a good time.
I think I've seen this bus before, at least a million other ones.
There were several like that. It's not like he was the only one, and there were quite a few,
Yes,
chemists
I can-
from the 40s and the 50s that decided to follow the Grateful
Yeah.
Dead until they died. Following the Grateful Dead, not the Grateful Dead dying, the chemists dying.
Yeah.
It was an interesting scene. I don't clearly remember a lot because, like I said, I did a lot of drugs back then.
Mhm.
But
Did he teach you how to make acid?
no,
Hey,
Shit.
Emma,
he wouldn't teach
is
me.
this the bus?
No, that's not the
Is-
bus.
is- well,
That's not the bus.
looks like it though, somewhere.
It's
right? Like
similar.
that, basically.
It's
What you're
similar.
talking about is a very colorful, very noticeable fucking bus.
Yes, full of chemicals that could blow up at any time if they were done
But yeah,
wrong.
this one just looks like it's full of people on
It
top and
probably was.
inside.
Yeah, it looks like it is. Oh God. The one thing I don't miss about the 60s is the clothing.
Bell bottoms.
That's the 70s, baby.
Man.
Oh my bad.
I gotta say, those guys from the '60s, they don't look bad. I mean, they look bad, but I mean, they don't look they look terrible, but like they don't look dirty. Well, they look dirty, but
This guy on the hood, I swear I've seen him smash watermelons before.
That does look
He
like
does look like Gallagher, doesn't it?
it?
A little bit. And look at the black dude just standing up on top. He's like, yeah.
The rest of y'all can sit. I'm here for civil rights.
He's like, let me know if there's a tree coming. I can't really see.
There was nobody sitting for any kind of rights at this time. There really wasn't. This was just about fucking and having fun. Like
Oh yeah.
that's really, like, let's be real. That's what the 60s were all about.
The '60s did have a lot of the civil rights shit, did they not?
Yes.
Not in this scene, not in the music
not in
scene.
this
Well,
not in this group of people.
No,
Not
if
right
you
away.
look at the civil rights movement
you-
and the major actors in it, they were all pretty clean cut people.
If
It
you
was
okay.
before that this major movement kicked off, and that's why I said, like, that fucking lull that they had, like, right after JFK got assassinated. You had Martin Luther King at the same time fucking giving that "I Have a Dream" speech. That was pretty fucking powerful and influential. Where I have a feeling like if it wasn't for individuals like that, you would have had such a big fucking movement of people at least coming together and saying, we are all one. Fuck the whole civil rights thing. Like, we're all just people who are fucking here to have fun and be with each other and enjoy this experience of fucking music.
Well, yeah, if the hippies, the hippies actually kind of ruined the social rights movement, or the civil rights movement.
And real quick, by the way, Atema, bell bottoms were in the 1960s and 70s.
Yeah,
Okay,
they started in like 67, 68.
But still, they were in the 60s.
The I Have a
Good
Dream
Lord.
speech
No.
was done in 1963. So
Yeah, there's,
it was all happening together in a way. Because like in 63, that's when, like we had said, that was right before the Beatles came to the US. That was around the time that people were still doing Yeah, that real stiff fucking wearing a suit while you
Sanitized.
sing some while you sing a song about dancing.
Yeah,
I
it
gotta
was-
ask you folk who were around back then.
You fuck.
Well, I'm gonna get
The whole civil rights movement started pretty early in the 60s.
Actually,
Around that same time.
the civil rights movement in America actually started in the late 40s. It just didn't get any traction until the mid 50s, and
Yep.
it didn't get any political notice until the mid 60s.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Well, it blew up in the 60s.
Yes, that's because of the riots and protests.
How much do you figure people like Jimi Hendrix and like big black celebrities at the time helped that along?
Well,
Well, I'll tell you, the Temptations, right? Like they mentioned in the movie The Temptations, that when they first started doing tours and going out there and performing, that the audience was segregated, right? And I think it was around like 1964, maybe 65, the audience became non-segregated. There were black people dancing with white people, you know.
and that had
And-
nothing to do with the civil rights movement. That was a natural
Exactly.
thing that people were doing.
But
It was,
It
yeah.
did have a little bit of a push as well. Like
I
people
was
were
gonna
like, if
say-
we can dance together, we can get along, you know.
Yeah.
You can't say it didn't have any influence because of the civil rights movement, because there was still at the time a lot of people who did believe in segregation, had that old mindset. They didn't really see people as people, they saw it as fucking different classes of fucking people. So like the more that this became a actual, political involvement, social involvement, people started to relax and ease up more.
Oh,
Mhm.
well, yes. No, I'm saying hippies actually detracted from the movement because hippies came across as dirty and nasty and smelly, and people didn't want to be associated with them. They actually slowed the civil rights movement down right around 66, 67.
There were
because-
black hippies though.
Well,
You
yeah,
know?
but there weren't many. There really weren't many.
Right. There
Honestly,
was
there
a black
weren't.
guy standing on that bus, and he was
Yes.
the only one. I know what you
Yeah,
mean.
exactly.
I know exactly what you mean.
But no, like the dirty hippies, the ones that were taking lots of acid and fornicating freely in
The
the middle
ones
of
with the
public.
dreadlocks and shit like that.
Exactly. Yeah, the ones with
The
dreadlocks.
ones that look like Schmeckel does now.
Yeah.
I do not
Yeah.
have fucking dreadlocks. It's just curly hair.
No, but you do look like a hippie.
A little bit, yeah.
I said,
I
Schmecker,
dress
you
a
look
hell
more
of a
like
lot
hippie
better.
than I do.
I dress a hell of a lot better than they did.
Oh, I bet I can find a hippie that's wearing a cowboy, or not a cowboy, a pirate
Top hat.
shirt and a fucking top hat. I bet I can find a hippie.
Probably there's
And
probably
has
one out
curly
there.
hair, you know.
But
Find
no-
exactly Schmeckel. Like,
Funny
look,
story.
you're a clone.
We found your daddy, Schmeckel.
Funny story. One of the larger names that actually got put on the Ed Sullivan Show that people don't talk about, and he was not white, was Carlos Santana.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Santana.
Carlos
Well, I mean,
Santana.
I think Carlos Santana.
Santana wasn't white, but because he was successful by today's terms, he was a white man.
Right.
Yeah, he was treated.
And Santana was one of the individuals who actually played at freaking Woodstock too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I was bringing him up.
Oh,
yeah. But he couldn't play anything but one song, and it had to be one song in English for him to be able to play the Ed Sullivan Show or one of those
Well, he didn't.
music performance shows.
Did he sing? I thought he just played
No.
guitar.
It's Santana. Yeah,
He
sings
sang.
well.
He hasn't so much in the past few years.
You know what it was? I didn't think
He's
he
like
ever sang in English. That's what I thought, is that he never sang in English. I'm just a little,
Carlos Santana
Yeah,
never
something.
sang.
No.
Carlos,
Then he has singers on his track.
Exactly. Like he was a guitarist.
yeah, Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck was his most long-term
Okay.
famous
Wow.
singer.
That would explain why I thought he sung well, because I like
That was right.
Jeff
So-
Beck was white, but Santana, because the band is named Santana.
He was the front man for the band, but he was just the guitarist. I mean, you didn't have to be a singer to be the front man of a band.
I mean, nowadays you definitely have to be the singer to be the front man. But
Hell, dude, some of the bands, at least one of the bands back in the 60s, their drummer was their lead singer.
and
Yeah, there's also
do you know how fucking hard that is to do?
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Phil
Or you
Collins.
have bands with multiple
Collins,
singers.
but wasn't Phil Collins in the 70s and 80s like where he
Well,
had
yeah,
most prominence?
yeah, but I was just talking about lead singers that are also drummers.
I hate that motherfucker.
He's a nut, yeah.
I
No,
can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Wow, don't ever do that.
see, when I was a kid or a baby,
it's such
rather.
a fucking horrible song.
Dude, when I was a baby, people used to tell my mom that I look like Phil Collins. I fucking hate that motherfucker. I hope he hurts his anus the next time he shoves his like fucking whatever award it was up his ass, like in South Park.
Okay.
He's just really mad that his real dad is Phil Collins.
If
That'd
we're
be weird.
talking about the fucking hippies, we have to talk about the psychedelic rock too, and like how the Beatles got into the psychedelic rock.
And that was why I brought up First Edition.
No,
Thank you for
got it
not
right
saying
this
New
time.
Edition.
Well,
Everybody just stopped when he said that. Like, wait a minute, let's check it. Fact check. Okay, he's right.
Now, now that we're on the topic of the Beatles, I do have to point out, if John Lennon had not been killed and they had not broken up, there is a chance they'd still be going today, but they'd probably be like Metallica.
We'll see.
No, because the biggest talents besides Paul McCartney died in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I was gonna say they probably would have gone for
that's
another
just
like.
not true.
Oh,
Fucking
come
George
on.
Harrison died in like 2007 or something.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it was
2009 maybe. I can look it up.
No.
2001.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that damn
Because-
long ago.
I remember.
That
I
long ago?
remember because I had the issue of Rolling Stone that talked about it, and I had just moved to Arizona at the time.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Is that it wasn't that long ago. That's not the
Okay.
90s still.
No, I mean,
It's real close.
I know Lennon didn't
So-
die.
1985.
At least I don't think he died in the 60s.
He died in the 80s, dude.
Yeah,
But if he hadn't died, maybe the Beatles would still be going, but they'd have gone the same direction as Metallica.
Yeah, I don't.
Their
no.
music wouldn't be recognizable as them anymore.
No,
Well, their
I
music
don't think
wasn't-
they would have survived John being married to Yoko. I really
Yeah.
don't.
maybe not.
Or they would have broken up just because of that. Yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
know, they say that there's a they say that the first time that Yoko Ono ever walked into the studio while them guys were recording stuff, I guess Paul looked up and he saw her and he goes, "Oh no," and he had never even met her before.
That's
He
funny.
just looked at her and he fucking knew. Gosh, shit, this is gonna be the bitch to take us down.
that
But-
joke, fucking, you love that shit. You
Here's
love
one
that
for
joke.
you. Here's one for you, Ace. The Beatles before Yoko Ono ever came around, they didn't know how to read music.
That's not true.
Yeah,
They,
no.
she
Yeah,
Didn't
that's
teach them how
definitely
to do
not
it.
true.
No, because Paul McCartney is
multiple of them had gone to school for music.
Yeah, they were
Hey,
classically trained.
If that
I
was
was gonna say,
real,
wait.
No, they put that in one of those fucking TV movies. The whole they didn't know how to read music. I think she helped write that movie.
Well, and you gotta give it to the Beatles because the Beatles were pretty much making MTV before MTV was even a fucking thing.
Yep.
Yeah, the Hard Day's Night movie.
Well, not just that, like they did individual little shoots for different songs, like and not just full length features. They did individual ones where like it was pretty innovative at the time for what they were fucking doing and the vision of it. And I will agree with the Temin, like for what with Oko and fucking John, like they probably would have broken up. But the thing about it is, if everybody would have lived, they would have obviously probably gotten together again in the next like 10 to 15 years, done one of the
yeah.
reunion
Like the Eagles.
tours. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, all the stuff that I'm finding is saying that the Beatles did not know how to write music in traditional chords. They
Yeah,
would
no,
write it in their
Really?
own notation. Their own style is what they used. And
Okay.
they were even proud of it. Like, hey, this is what we know how to read. And they would write it their way.
Well,
That's odd because music was taught in elementary school at that time.
Well, yeah, but the Beatles were they were part of a program back in the whatever the fuck year back in Britain. There was a program that said that pretty much poor younger kids would be able to have access to the high end music classes and art classes and stuff like.
Well, that wouldn't have included John Lennon because he grew up in Hyde Park.
Wasn't his mom killed by a police officer?
I have no idea.
You also have to remember too, a lot of the people that we're talking about, they were growing up either during the time of actually World War II or just the aftermath of it. So like
reparation or
Reformation.
Reconstruction or reformation.
Yes. So like what they learned isn't like, what people started to learn later on after they actually had some time to really rebuild, get shit together. So, and like that's one of the things that the Rolling Stones, like Keith Richards talks about, with the World War II going on and whatnot, like that kind of helped his perception of music and like how he writes it.
Well, yeah, but John Lennon was very upper middle class, though. His family was very well to do. He had classical training. He knew how to write music because he was classically trained.
And Paul, like Paul and him were both. Were
they?
Paul met John later in John's career, or not really career. John had a band called the Quarrymen, and they were still rocking the leather jackets and had their greaseback hair. And I think George Harrison was already part of the band. And one day, they were like they were looking for another bassist, and one of John's friends introduced him to Paul, and he got to actually sit there and watch Paul get up on stage and play one of his songs, and in front of the crowd. And John was impressed, but John was also kind of an asshole. So after he heard Paul play, he just told him, you're all right. And then I guess a couple of months later, they completely lost their bass player, and because he had gone to a different band or decided to do something else. And John was like, "Hey, what about that dude Paul?" And I think he asked George Harrison to contact Paul, and that's when Paul became part of the band. And then I think Paul introduced one of them. Like it was either that Ringo Starr already knew John or George did, but Paul introduced the fourth member, I think. Mm-hmm. So it was like each one of them two was responsible for half of the band. I mean, shit. If you look at any of the songs written by John or Paul, they're usually under the synonym Lennon McCartney, right? And Paul said that actually happened one day. They were supposed to have a meeting with the group manager, and apparently John got there first, and Paul was a little late showing up. And by the time Paul got there, he said that they had already decided that all the songs would be under the synonym Lennon McCartney. And Paul still says that he would rather it be, like his songs would be McCartney Lennon, and Lennon songs would be Lennon McCartney. He said that's the only change he wanted, and they refused to do it.
Was Paul McCartney already dead in the 60s, or is that a next week topic?
Paul McCartney died in the 60s.
66.
If you believe in the Paul is dead myth.
And I was going to say, before we get to the
I don't think we can talk about the 60s without talking about Paul is dead.
Yeah, before we get to the Drake thing, we have to fucking talk about this.
Yep, Paul McCartney died in a car crash in 1966 while looking at a meter maid who distracted him long enough for him to drive through a fucking red light and get hit by another car, causing his car to fly into a telephone pole. Or there's like three different origins of this.
Yeah, well, the one that I heard was they were recording late at night. Paul was like, all right, I had enough. It's like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to fucking go home.
Right.
So he starts driving home. He's going down some rural road. He sees some chick walking down the side of the road. Being a nice guy that he is, he rolls down the window, asks, hey, do you need a ride? She goes, yeah, no problem. Gets in the car because obviously it's dark. She didn't know who it fucking was. As soon as they passed a car that was coming the opposite direction, she got a good look at his face, and she fucking flipped the fuck out. Started pulling on him, grabbing on him. He fucking twisted the wheel, and he went flying into a tree. And then he ended up dying, and the issue was that MI5 at the time knew about the death, and they were worried because the Beatles were so big at the time that there was going to be a mass epidemic of suicides because people would go absolutely fucking insane for the Beatles. So what they did is they replace Paul with a lookalike.
Billy Shears.
Yep. And you could go more in depth about Billy Shears because you have a good fucking explanation about it, Trippy. And like fucking you've done quite a bit of fucking research on it.
Oh yeah, dude. Like after Paul's supposed death that night, I guess the cops, of course, showed up to the scene of the crash, and they called MI6 is what they say, and
MI5,
MI6, MI5. All right, MI5 and MI5.
MI5 is basically the Homeland Security for them. MI6 is like the CIA where they deal with foreign shit.
Well, the MI5 guys showed up to the studio not even an hour after the accident, and they grabbed John, Paul, and Ringo, and they brought them guys to the scene of the crash. And apparently, if you know anything about the Beatles, it's a bit of a reference, but apparently John's first thing out of his mouth when he saw Paul's body was, "Oh my God, he looks like a walrus," because his molars were apparently sticking out of his cheeks.
Cuckoo.
Yeah.
What?
And they were
well,
told.
And hold on. Supposedly, also this song.
I am the Eggman because he's all smashed up. I am the walrus because of the tooth thing.
Yeah,
well,
the walrus was Paul, man.
Here's another one. Supposedly, this song "Come Together" is also about Paul and the way he looked after the accident. Because if you listen to how they describe certain elements of a person, like that would make sense if somebody had a car crash.
Yeah.
No. The only real descriptions in "Come Together" that they give are you had hair down to your knees, and you got
good looking.
and
It's so hard to see.
You got feet down below your knees.
Well, no, like you're.
I don't know about you. My feet are below my knees.
Well, it's so you're so good looking. It's hard to see.
No. The line is
okay.
He's got to be good looking because he's so hard to see.
Yes, and that's a reference of the plastic surgery that they did to Billy Shears to make him look like Paul, and he's so good looking that people aren't able to fucking notice it. And the whole juju eyeball.
But they made him look like Paul McCartney. He was not so good looking.
Hold on, motherfucker.
He already looked like Paul. There was only a slight bit of plastic surgery that would have been involved. There was like a little bit of changes to the nose. I think cheekbone raise and an ear.
I don't give a fuck. The end result was still not good looking. It was Paul McCartney.
Women back then said he was the best looking member of the Beatles.
Really?
That's ridiculous. John and George were both right there.
No, my mom said that Ringo was way prettier, but I don't have an opinion.
Oh yeah, your mom liked Ringo.
Yeah.
You ever see the Family Guy thing?
Yes.
When they talk about the chicks and the one girl's like, "I like George," and he climbs up a ladder and he's like, "Did you like me? You want to go out on a date?" And then she's like, "Do you have the rest of the Beatles?" He's like, "Nope, just me."
What I was talking about with the whole "come together" thing is the whole juju eyeball that supposedly like one of his eyes popped out of his head after the car crash. And of course, this is all a fucking conspiracy theory, but let's fucking go with it for a minute.
Yeah, dude, there's a song by George Harrison, or where George Harrison is singing. I think it's George Harrison. Might be Ringo. Either way, he says, "I'm sorry that I doubted you." Something's up with fucking whatever. He goes, "You were in a car crash and you lost your hair." And it's like a direct reference to the fucking car crash, And a lot of people think that
not every car crash has to be that car crash. First off, he was supposed to be driving a fucking bike, was he not?
No, he was driving it wasn't an Aston Martin. It was another car with another car brand with Aston or Ashton, one of the two in the title. It was a roadster, a topless roadster.
Okay.
But after the car crash, like MI5 told the Beatles, "Look, like you guys have got to keep performing. We have to get somebody to replace them, and we just have to keep it going because if we don't, thousands or millions of people are going to commit suicide. Not only that, but there might be riots."
So they found a guy from a lookalike contest who looked enough like him that they'd only need minor tweaks. What'd they do? Like, how'd they manage the voice?
Well, he also he went to speech coaching. Like he went through speech coaching, and he was also taught how to play the guitar with his left hand. because Paul was left-handed.
Yeah, well,
This seems like a ridiculous conspiracy to me.
It seems like a hell of a lot of work.
It's like this is like 9/11 being an inside job. It's just so many people.
Plus, you got to remember, I don't think John Lennon, at least, never mind the other two. I don't like John Lennon would have been a fucking whistleblower.
But it's not only that, he's the junkie.
Here's where,
or yeah, he would have got high and fucking mentioned it to someone.
the whole theory, first of all, comes from some dude who sent fucking like records into a radio station late at night, and he was like, if you play the Beatles backwards, they're saying messages that Paul's actually dead and blah blah blah. It has backmasking. But I know, Trippy, you're probably going to bring up the fall thing, so go ahead.
Oh, yeah, George Harrison, constantly.
Fuel can't melt the Beatles.
Yeah, jet fuel can't melt the Beatles.
What?
You got to read the chat, Trippy.
Oh, I'm watching
Read the
something.
chat.
I don't even see it.
You don't even need to search for
melt
it.
the Beatles.
There you go. Now go on with what you're saying.
Either way, George Harrison, when he was in interviews, this is even long after the Beatles broke up, he always referred to Paul McCartney as Fall. And they say the reason that he did that is because one day when they were still together, he referred to the new guy as Fake Paul, right by a bunch of fucking people. And I guess John pulled him aside and was like, look, if you have to call him something besides Paul, just call him Fall. That way when people hear you say that, they'll think that they just misheard you. And George Harrison stuck to it. But he continuously did it. Even after he was, a solo artist for 20 years and 30 years, he would always refer to Paul as Fall. And them guys basically never really contacted each other much outside of being with the Beatles.
Well, I'm wondering if
we have evidence. Are there clips of him saying this, or is this just some claim that's been made?
I'm sure you could find something on YouTube, but I mean, it's worth mentioning. Like, I honestly, personally, I don't fucking believe it's real, but conspiracy theories are fucking fun. Like, especially like this one, it's so fucking fun to talk about. Like,
oh no, and Paul is dead is one of the most fun ones because there's so much fucking evidence that does back up these claims.
Yeah,
until you deconstruct them.
I was going to say, I think I know who proposed this conspiracy theory.
All right,
It was Barrett. Paul himself.
Sid Barrett.
Sid Barrett.
Well, actually,
that guy was so fucking crazy.
People that were close to John said that the reason why the Beatles did the whole Paul is dead thing was because at a certain point throughout their career, John started to look at Paul as if he was a different person. And
because he was happily married.
Well, yeah, he started to think like, hey, Paul's getting an awful big fucking head. Maybe we should kill him in a, non-literal sense. And as they started actually putting the Paul is dead things into the records, because the other band members, like Ringo's mentioned that they did it on purpose. Paul said they did it on purpose. But as they started doing that, John said that Paul pretty much just got an even bigger ego from the whole Paul is dead thing, because now he felt like he was the front runner for the entire band.
Some of them have admitted that they put stuff in there to bolster the rumors.
They've admitted it in songs. There's a song where he says, John says, well, here's another clue for you all. The walrus was Paul. Like, he literally says he's putting a clue right in front of you.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's I think it's one of the songs on the White Album. Because he says,
I haven't heard every Beatles song.
I haven't either.
I have.
It's been a long time since I've looked into this shit, but
did you know that the Beatles did a cover of Wait a Minute, Mr. Postman?
I may have known that.
I don't know that song in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay, so is the rumor about Yoko being actually married to a man in Japan before she married John true?
Well, she had,
and that's why they had to go it.
It's true, but they leave out a couple of the facts. She was actually married to 3 men. from a young age, Yoko Ono was raised as a prostitute, as will sometimes happen to discarded female children in Asian countries. She was married to 3 men, all prearranged. The oldest of these marriages, the most recent of these marriages, occurred when she was about 14 or so.
Mm-hmm.
She was married to all of these people. She was faithful to them while working as a prostitute, however you make that work in your brain. And she did actually come to the Americas, with the express idea that she would find herself a nice white man to work as her pimp. She found John Lennon, who refused the role, treated her nicely, and they lived happily after. Oh, he got shot in the head.
No, he got shot 3 times in the chest, I think, or 4 times.
3 times in the chest.
Wherever the fuck he got shot.
Yeah, there was
wherever
6
the
shots
fuck he
fired
got shot.
and 4 hit. I think. Anyways, I put a little link over there in the side chat. It's 39 seconds, and Paul is referred to by George as Fall twice, at least.
All right.
Okay,
I'll watch that in a moment. I'm going to be right back. I need a new beer. I'm going to leave Tamina in charge to see how she does.
Okay, well, then
even though she's the only person here who ain't a host, Tama's in charge. When I get back, we'll either continue with this or go into the Drake shit, wherever it goes.
Okay, because I thought that the Ballad of Yoko and John was the whole complicated story of them being able to get married because she had all these previous marriages and she hadn't divorced one of them.
I got to be honest, I've largely ignored that bitch.
I have too. That's why I find it hilarious. You know, is it true that eating chocolate cake from the bag is a reference to doing hash or heroin?
No, I believe eating chocolate cake in a bag was actually what they did when they were doing their bed protest.
Oh, okay. Because I heard that was slang for doing drugs in the back of a bus.
A lot of mistakes, like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. People think that song's about LSD, but
no,
it wasn't.
It's a picture that his daughter drew.
Mm-hmm.
And a story that they created along with it.
Yeah. They thought that LSD was, the abbreviation, even though the abbreviation would have been LSWD. Just cut that one out because it doesn't serve the purpose of the conspiracy.
Yep.
Well, and by the way, Ray Stone said in the chat, John Lennon didn't die. He went back to 1905 to start
a communist revolution.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
I started dying earlier.
Right, dude?
Fucking Lennon became another Lennon.
Lennon became another Lennon. Oh, no.
The Paul is dead myth goes till almost today, right?
Well, I kind of think he is dead. I think the current Paul McCartney is basically Weekend at Bernie's. He's just being fueled by preservatives.
Yeah.
Did you know that Paul McCartney?
He is a shell of his former self. Like,
well, yeah.
Oh no, he hasn't been right since Linda died. When Linda McCartney died, he was just toast.
Hold on. At the same time, Linda McCartney, right? While we're on this whole conspiracy theory bullshit, right? At one interview, she fucking said, if anything were to happen to me, I have a box that I will release and it will tell the truth about the Beatles. Or something like that. Like, it's like, all right, well, what the fuck? Like, and these
that was Yoko.
No, it was Linda.
No, but it was because of Yoko that she had that box.
Oh,
Yoko,
okay.
As soon as Yoko was introduced to the band, she started doing all kinds of shitty stuff and threatening to talk about what was going on behind closed doors.
My theory is that Yoko Ono is actually Tequila's fucking mom. Like,
that might be right, dude.
Yeah, like those bitches are so
Yoko Ono
similar.
Oh,
sorry, that was my husband making something about
like a YouTube video. He's got a deep voice.
He does. I like his voice.
I was gonna say, did God just speak to us? What the fuck just happened there?
Satan, is that you?
Hail Satan!
Hail Satan! Heil Satan! Let's get it right. Heil Satan!
Turn me on, Deadman. There you go.
Yeah, Yoko is the first thought. Yeah, I think Will is correct on this one.
Right.
So,
dude,
so
Yoko Ono was his first thought when Paul saw Yoko. What?
Tema was saying something about Yoko was the reason why she had the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Go
like,
ahead.
like, what exactly do you mean by that? Like, just because of how shitty she was as a person, breaking up the band?
Well, I heard that Yoko was really trying to put herself in charge and be the absolute manager of the band as soon as her and John started fucking.
Okay.
I don't know if
And,
that's true.
They said that John was actually the one that decided, like, look, we're not. I'm done, and he just quit, which broke up the Beatles. He wanted to
Oh,
go his
really?
own
And
way.
I heard
wanted
it
to become
was
a hippie.
Paul. I heard it was Paul because Paul was the one basically writing all the music anyway, and he was done.
That's exactly what I would think too, because I mean, hell, even the Paul is Dead myth mentions the fact that Paul had written so many songs before, or not the fact, but they mention in the Paul is Dead myth that Paul had written so many songs that the Beatles could continue to make like at least 4 or 5 more records and still have songs left over. Like he had a list, he had a fucking like just this big ass filing cabinet full of songs that he was like, they're not good enough, you know. And some of those supposedly became their biggest hits. Like hell, you know, George Harrison actually wrote "Here Comes the Sun."
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean,
And Yellow Submarine was written by Ringo Starr.
Yeah, and
And that seems
And
weird to me that
Octopus's
the Ringo song got so popular.
yeah, Ringo
Well,
Starr.
Octopus's Garden was another one of his. He was the one that came up with all the story songs because they were things he did with his kids.
Yeah.
And the fucking Octopus's Garden was all right too.
Dude,
Who knew
Taxman.
Ringo had talent?
Look, Taxman was written by George Harrison.
Yes,
And they said
Paperback
that,
Writer too.
yeah, there's Paperback Writer. That's one of my favorite ones. But
Who wrote
they said that,
fuck, what's it called? Maxwell's Silver Hammer.
that was Paul straight up. John Lennon hated that song.
I love that song.
Dude, that's one of my favorites too. But John Lennon said that it sounded like them in 1960. He was like, I fucking hate this song. I don't like anything about it. It doesn't fit our new style. John hated that fucking song.
See, one of my favorites is an oddball song.
Which one?
Rocky Raccoon.
Rocky Raccoon.
Yeah, not a big fan.
That's when Paul was putting on his best Southern fucking accent in certain parts of that song.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Yellow Submarine is
Boa.
always going to be my favorite Beatles song.
Yeah. Well, I on Twitter, I shared to you guys that song Savoy Truffle that I've been listening to over and over for some fucking reason. I don't know if you guys checked it out, but that's a good one too. And that song,
you sent me a link and I refused to watch it because I don't trust things you send me, Trippy.
oh, it's just a remaster.
Nobody trusts anything Trippy says.
This song though, Michael, that song was written by George Harrison just to make fun of Eric Clapton, because apparently Eric Clapton had eaten so many sweets that his dentist had to do some work on his mouth and told him like no more sweets. So George Harrison sat there and wrote a song about eating sweets and how your teeth could fall out, just to kind of poke fun at Eric. And the song Layla by Eric Clapton was written about George Harrison's wife and how much Eric wanted to fuck her.
Wait, what?
Yeah, no,
Really?
Layla Harrison was a knockout. She was just beautiful, talented, amazing.
I didn't know Layla was about someone else's wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
George Harrison's wife.
Yes. Yes.
Fuck.
Oh yeah, dude. There was a lot of little feuds that became songs.
Well, that was,
I think-
before the internet and before you could shitpost, you just shit wrote a song.
Yeah. And it wasn't called a beef, It was just like, you wrote a song about fucking my wife.
Rap hadn't happened yet. It was just a mean song.
Yeah.
And before we get into the whole Drake thing, can we talk about one more band real quick? That
Zeppelin? Zeppelin?
Yes.
Yes.
Bring 'em up.
Actually, I wanted to talk about Pink Floyd as well.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Well, we gotta hit Floyd if we're doing the 60s too.
Yeah, go with
Oh,
Floyd
one
first.
little
and then-
thing though, right quick. I believe silence. Sorry. Ringo Starr actually met his wife on the set of
We went
Magical
silent
Mystery Tour.
because you were speaking.
Yes,
Magical Mystery Tour.
I seem to remember.
Sorry,
yes, it was
guys.
either Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band or the Magical Mystery Tour. One of the two movies.
Oh no, it was the movie set of the Magical Mystery Tour.
Was it? I thought it was. Okay, I didn't know.
There's a
They were
scene.
all filmed like back to back.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a scene in the Magical Mystery Tour where Ringo Starr is sitting at a dinner table, and like he looks at the chick, and she's I think the waitress in the movie, and you can tell there's a little spark there. Like you can just tell that he wants to get in them pants. I don't even know how long them two were married, but So who's first
Long
here?
time.
Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd?
Pink Floyd. Let's go with Floyd first because they were a bigger, like, notable influence in that area. That they were bigger artists.
Well, and that would have been when they had their lead singer that went insane.
Well, and because Zeppelin, like, they formed in 68. So, like, yes, they released an album in 68 and 69, but at the same time, like, they didn't get recognized really until the 70s. So, like, Pink Floyd is more of a spot for the 60s. So, what were you going to talk about, Tema?
Well, the people don't realize that Roger Waters was the third lead singer, second or
Something
third.
like that.
Are we about to talk some fucking Sid Barrett?
Yep.
Some Sid fucking Barrett, man. Sid Barrett.
Some fucking insane shit.
He was a
Literally
brilliant
some fucking
songwriter.
insane shit. Motherfucker snapped.
Oh yeah, well no, on the set, that him filming and shaving off his eyebrows and the blood dripping and everything.
Yep.
That's real. That's real blood. That's real razor blades going across his eyebrows. Those are real cuts and stuff they show. He really did fuck himself up on the set of that movie. He was an amazing songwriter though. Like a lot of the actual scores that are in the first, two albums? The first two Pink Floyd albums, if memory serves, were a lot of those musical scores were written by Sid Barrett, and a lot of the lyrics were. He just kind of snapped.
Are you talking about in the movie?
He snapped shortly
the
after
movie,
the movie.
That
was
wasn't
institutionalized.
him. In the movie, that wasn't him. That was the guy from the Boomtown Rats.
No, that's Sid Barrett that shaves his eyebrows.
Michael
He
died.
was representative of Sid Barrett, and Sid Barrett did that in real life.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. Yeah, they said they even walked in on
the
him and found him, with the cigarette with the long ash and everything, all the way through, burned through his fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was an acid thing. That was you get lost in acid and heroin, and it's just your body doesn't feel things correctly. Shine On You Crazy Diamond, Death Hurricane is writing. He's putting up album titles. Shine On You Crazy Diamond was a tribute to Sid Barrett because right after they finished filming The Wall, Sid Barrett was institutionalized, and he stayed there for quite a while until he was finally released to his family's home, where he died not too long ago.
Wow.
Echoes, I thought, was just Roger Waters reflecting on how much he's actually lost his mind. Because Roger Waters was a really interesting person, and then he decided to go full commie, and now he's just really boring. In my opinion, he's just kind of spitting out the same.
Communist and still interesting. It just means you're less intelligent than people thought you were. Hey, you look at fucking Stalin, Lenin, any of them. Interesting people. Not all that smart, but interesting. Roger Waters could be the same.
Very true.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. The album itself kind of showed. Echoes to me was the least interesting album.
Oh, no. Echoes was terrible.
I mean, I think it kind of reflected on how much Roger Waters had lost the depth of being creative and interesting. Personally, I think it was just,
well, I mean, when you do fucking acid and shrooms and follow it up with shit tons of
and doing a bunch of acid and is supposed to make you the opposite of boring.
Well, okay,
you did a bunch of them. You can actually give yourself a psychotic break if you do it too close.
If you have a psychotic break, that should still make you interesting.
That should make you more interesting. I mean, just look at Sid Barrett. But
some people, it just fries your brain to the point where you have no interest in even doing things. So how are you supposed to be interesting?
But I don't understand how we can say that, because Echoes was a terrible album, but Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking was a great album. And
was he the only writer, or was there somebody helping him?
Oh, that's a good question. I've never bothered to look.
Hell, I mean, they even said that the writer for the Beach Boys kind of fried his brain with LSD after a while.
Brian Wilson? Yep.
Yeah, dude. He fucked himself up because he was doing...
shut-in.
Yeah.
How did he fry his brain and then manage to start writing stealing songs?
That was after all that.
He sat there, fried his brain during all the years he was making money stealing from other people, and then he was like, "Wait, you know, I think I'm at a proper point where I can actually write you some fucking music."
Yep, pretty much.
Welcome to the '60s.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I mean,
like,
you gotta take into account too. I mean, like you were getting much more actual drug than you were filler back then too. When it came to like LSD, you were getting pure fucking LSD. You were gonna be doing like a eye drop of that shit.
I don't even know where the fuck to find LSD. I've done acid once.
Oh Jesus!
One time, because it's the only time I've been able to get my hands on it.
Pretty much everybody share in the chat, everybody in the hangout, and everybody who's watched for the last 6 months. I've done their share combined for everybody. Don't worry, I've done all the acid you need to do. Don't.
No, see, I loved it. I'm not gonna lie. I was terrified the one time I was on it because I'd been drinking and smoking and I was on ecstasy, and I actually ended up forgetting that I had taken acid. But as soon as I remembered, as soon as I was reminded that I had taken it, it was like, oh, okay, I'm good. I'll enjoy this.
Oh, good job. My first acid trip was listening to the recorded Swan Song album, watching the VCR tape at the time, because that's how old I am.
Nice.
Of watching that and watching a thunderstorm, a lightning storm, and we lived in the mountains at the time, so that was.
Oh, we were at it was our like our after prom thing, and we had done it at a campground, so there were like families around, and also a bunch of like weird people that were there because they knew that a bunch of high school kids would be there soon. And we had brought weed, we had brought booze, decided, hey, we want to find ecstasy. We spent hours searching for it, found it, did it. Then my memory drops out. Then there's some old creepy dude in the car with us. Then I'm tripping the fuck out, thinking that I'm in, like, I'd been reading some books and I thought I was in like the world of those books. During a very, very bad part of the book. Meanwhile, the girlfriend at the time sitting next to me, she's like, she was asking me where the pot was, and I'm trying to answer her, but I can't stop responding to the shit that's going on in my brain instead of saying things that actually answer her question.
Schmeckle was probably like, the pot is in the kettle. The pot is in the kettle.
No, like she'd ask where the pot is, and I'd be like, we're not gonna make it. It's just the fucking end of the world. She'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's what you need here right now.
Then eventually I go, Jesus Christ, I think my brain broke. I'm going crazy. And she goes, you know you're on acid, right?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking,
and at that point, it was like, wait, no, I remember the guy giving me the thing. Now we're good. I get it now.
Yeah. Dude, my mom told me that when she was still in, I think, high school, she did blotter acid and then went to school. Or they did it on school grounds.
I don't know what type of acid I did. He gave me a little square thing that I put on my tongue, and I got really high.
I think she said it was like a dot in the middle of a sheet of paper or whatever the hell is what she had. But she said she went to class, and her friend had done it together, and the teacher said something. That's all she can remember is that the teacher said something, and then both of them just started laughing. And of course, the teacher realizes that there's something up here, you know. So he's like, walks up to my mom, and he's like, "What is going on? Why won't you stop laughing?" Which made her laugh even harder. And then she said she looks at the teacher, and his fucking mustache is wiggling around on his face like a caterpillar.
Oh,
so she's laughing at him and pointing at him in the middle of the fucking class. And I guess he's like, "Are you two on drugs?" And they're like, "No." And then they just start laughing even harder. And he told them to go home or go to the principal's office. And they both got up and walked home instead of going to the principal's office.
Well, see, I don't have like a really strong reaction to mushrooms,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like psilocybin, not the other ones.
Psilocybin.
Psilocybin.
However you say it.
It's Canada. Okay, so you gotta say stuff weird over in Canada.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't have a real huge reaction, so I decided one day when I had a really boring class. It was a songwriting class, and the teacher was garbage. And I decided I'm gonna take some mushrooms. It'll make this a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Didn't remember one of the main side effects of mushrooms is that it makes time drag on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mushrooms were not the thing to take for a boring class.
Exactly.
I sat there for, I think it was a 2-hour class. It felt like it took a day. And like I said, I don't react strong to these things. So like the results I'm getting are, hey, it looks like the words on my page are moving a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Asian guy next to me, you look Simpson yellow.
Oh God.
Very minor shit. It was a
I never
very bad idea.
I've never tripped very hard. I get a sense of euphoria and I get a tactile joy from it. But other than that, mushrooms doesn't do much for me. And I remember being in a park with some friends, and it was like the first time I had done mushrooms since I was in high school. And it wasn't that far after. It'd been a couple of years at most. And the guy that we were tripping with, he was in his 20s, and he looks at me, smiles, and goes, "The sun is my friend, and we're all gonna die." All right. I think you need to go take a nap now, dude. Like, we were trying to make him lay down in the trees and all kinds of weird shit. But
Oh no, I've known people who have taken non-hallucinogens, like some coke or some ecstasy or something, and been sitting there saying, "Oh man, I'm seeing this shit," and it's like, shut the fuck up. The fuck to bed.
Mushrooms are fun. Like I find mushrooms to be fun, but like acid, like that shit hits me really fucking hard, really fucking weird.
I'm all left out over here. I only smoked weed.
No, only had acid the one time, but like mushrooms are not comparable.
Dude, the last time that I fucking took acid, I woke up in the middle of a farm field with a bottle of Everclear. I was butt-ass naked with a bottle of Everclear in one hand and a double-sided dildo in the other. I woke up, I looked at my hands, and I went, hold on, what the fuck, double-sided dildo? My ass doesn't hurt. So it wasn't me. I'm good!
Yeah, go home.
Now you just gotta wonder about all the poor people and/or sheep that you raped.
yeah, when I was
Just slapping them with a double-sided dildo. You bah!
Look like fucking Saints Row and shit.
right
Man,
around my
well, we got
birthday.
fucking Zach Lomby in the chat saying always with the drugs. Man, look at the fucking topic. It's 1960 shit. Fucking Zach Lumpy. Most of these drugs were created back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Especially LSD. Dude,
right around my 18th birthday, I took mescaline, and it's the only time I've ever taken mescaline. I will never touch it again.
What the fuck was that like?
I've always
I can't
wanted
fucking
try
tell
it.
you. I took it 3 hours later. I don't remember anything for the next 12 days. And when I came to and started having memory again, I was in a commune in Arizona, in the Arizona desert. And I had been there for I had been there for over a week. And I, I built a fucking house, man.
Tama, I think that's a story that deserves a full fucking stream.
Yeah.
There's not much to it though, because I don't remember much of what happened in that span.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't worry, I can hypothesize for ages.
The Queen of Shade is addressing you in chat. Atema, she says, "Are you having fun?" Yeah,
I am actually having fun. I don't know why, because I shouldn't be having too much fun telling stories of a misspent youth that ended up with death and stuff.
Well, shit.
Yeah, you're on the cunt stream. I hate all the people here. I hate the show itself. I hate the host. I hate our audience. But it's always a fun.
You love the host.
I do kind of love the host.
Yeah.
He's a cute guy.
A buddy of mine, dude. He did his first time ever doing shrooms. Schmeckel. He decided to take a quarter. And That poor guy. I saw him. I saw him a day and a half later. He came to my house and
I had a
told me that.
I had a quarter of shrooms once. Not my first time doing shrooms, but like close on.
Mm-hmm.
I had eaten it. I didn't realize how much I had eaten. Me, my buddy, and two chicks had got a half quarter each.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my buddy eat ours, and then the girls like have a couple, and then they're like, "Yeah, we're done. You guys can do whatever." And my buddy's sitting there like, "Yeah, I guess I'll have a couple more." I eat
Oh shit!
all the rest.
Oh god! So you had
I drove.
or
I drove.
What?
Yeah, it probably would have been a little over a quarter.
Okay.
I drove home after that.
No shit. Do you remember driving?
I do. It the first little bit had already started to kick in, but it didn't hit me hard until I was actually already home.
That's good.
So still a very, very stupid decision.
Yeah.
Nobody ever do nothing like that. But I made the trip successfully with no accidents.
Good.
You're really, really lucky.
Yeah,
Like I said, very, very stupid thing. Nobody ever do that.
Right.
Yeah,
But the buddy of mine, dude,
fun.
he tripped for 18 hours, Schmeckle. 18 fucking hours.
Oh, what had happened was we'd been doing this shit, and after we were all done, we went for a walk and met up with another chick and her boyfriend, and we went to his house, and we're smoking some weed in his shed, and he drops down and has a fucking seizure.
Oh fuck!
Damn.
That's
I've been taking mushrooms and don't know how to deal with people having seizures. So at that point, I turned around, walked away, walked a couple blocks to my car, and drove home.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Jeez. Well, like,
he had plenty of people to take care of him.
Yeah. My friend that did the shroom Schmeckle, like he did it a block away from his house, and he said that he told his buddy, he's like, "I'm gonna walk home. I don't trust myself to drive," because he said it hadn't quite kicked in yet, and he didn't know what to expect. So he said he's walking home.
Well, no, that's the thing too. If it had already kicked in, I probably I probably would have been better off driving than I was at the point.
Because you don't know what you're looking at, because you're aware of
exactly.
Because
it could have kicked in while I was driving, and that would have been bad.
Yeah. But he said he's walking home, and like in our neighborhood, we had rabbits. You know, like you'd see rabbits all the time. And he said he's walking home, and he sees a rabbit run out onto the sidewalk, and it looks at him, and he says, "It goes, come on, man, follow me!" And it starts running the opposite way of his house. And he said he looked at the rabbit, and he was like, "Nah, dude, I'm good. I gotta go home." And he said he just starts walking, and before he knows it, like he's on our block, you know. And he said he looks down, and all the grass is pink. And all I could think was, "Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck."
We got Will Honorless in the chat asking, did I try Schmecta doing shrooms? Will Honorless, I've not done shrooms tonight, but if you go back to whichever cunt stream thumbnail has psychedelic Schmeckle, you'll know which one I mean. I was on shrooms that night.
Nice.
So you can find shrooms, but you can't find acid, huh?
Shrooms are
grow
easy.
naturally.
Yeah,
It's really hard to produce acid in a lot of places now, thanks to meth labs.
Yep.
I have literally seen acid once in my life, and that was the time I did it.
That's really weird. Because
Mushrooms I could get tonight if I wanted to.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of the people I knew that worked in transporting acid were from Canada, so I'm kind of surprised by that. Maybe it's like an East versus West Coast kind of thing. I don't know.
Why don't you just Google acid dealer? You'll probably find one.
I'm sure if I searched hard, it's also not something I've really searched for, right? It's something like if I have a dealer, I'll ask him, "Hey, can you get this?"
Yeah.
But the answer is always no.
Well, the poor bastard from the one fucking court order that has recently been brought up, the one bastard who has to watch a poor fucking cunt stream, he's gonna go, oh god, they're fucking talking about acid. Now we gotta look into the motherfuckers who are living in Canada. God
His
damn
fucking
it.
notes page is just gonna be full of random shit. He's gonna be like, okay,
He's
Beatles
fucking
and
taking notes. You guys gotta know. Oh, we don't have any acid here. That's the problem. If you guys want to bring some acid here, bring it through Ontario. Sell it in Toronto. Sell it in Toronto. I'll help you. I'll make it happen. I'll hook you. Oh wait, yeah. Acid's legal here now, right? That was one of Trudeau's things.
dude,
No?
all he's gonna do,
Shit.
Schmeckle, all this guy's gonna write down is it's official. All the people who have ever listened to the Beatles have done acid. And it's gonna be like, no, Trippy's never done acid.
He's just gone on this sheet of paper. Trippy equals pussy.
There you go.
Underlined a bunch of times. In red, Trippy.
Yeah.
Fucking red ink.
Speaking of
Anyway.
shit from
The
Toronto,
pen is blue.
speaking of shit from Toronto, can we now get to the whole Drake bullshit?
Yes, I'm going to be back in
Drake.
5 minutes. If one of you wants to start that up, literally anybody but me is in charge right now. I have to go do a quick thing. I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Welcome to
Good luck.
Musical Literacy on Full Metal Pickles channel. He's taking over.
We're talking about random weird shit that has nothing to do with actual music.
Yes.
We're talking about conspiracy theories and
Well, no, the
Well,
conspiracy.
no. We're
Like
getting
drugs.
onto it.
Yeah,
story
that
that
did
has-
have to. Well, and the drugs did have to do with the time period because the psychedelics did influence that psychedelic rock era and all that. So we were on topic.
truth be told, psychedelics were actually the 70s more than the 60s. There were only a few
It
years that
happened-
psychedelics were.
Late 60s.
Well, the 60s, when the Beatles started using a lot of sitar, that was right after they did LSD for the first time.
I thought that was like
Right.
the early 70s. I thought a lot of that shit was done in like
Nope.
70, 71.
Nope.
The Beatles broke up in like 70. So,
Really?
Right.
Yeah, there
I
was
thought it was like shortly before he was shot in like 77 or something.
no.
he was shot in 1984, I think. Killed in 84 or 5. I think there might have
Interesting
been 5.
factoid. Interesting factoid. At the time that John Lennon was being shot, Lunatic Fringe was being recorded down the street. At the exact moment that interesting little factoid I always thought was kind of cool.
Golden Earring, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, Golden Earring is a pretty cool band, actually. They were pretty rocking.
Yeah, they
But
were.
no,
What's the Drake thing?
the whole psychedelic
Oh,
like
it was
using
1980. Sorry, it was 80. I thought it was later in the 80s. I apologize.
could have swore I was too little to remember him dying. That's why I was kind of confused.
Sorry, Ace, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. The influence of like the whole like psychedelic using the sitar, like the Indian style, like that was
George Harrison
actually
playing that shit.
well before that was actually known as raga rock,
Mhm.
and a good band to look at where like that was their influence, like that's what they were doing in the 60s is the Birds.
Yep.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, they have a song called Mind Garden, and if you look at that, you listen to it, like that's a good representation of like having the whole psychedelic with the sitar and like they're bringing in the different influence back and forth.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Damn.
Okay, so what's the Drake thing? I don't understand because you say Drake and I think male duck.
Well, let's talk about the Drake thing we were supposed to talk about first, and then I'll talk about the Drake thing I want to talk about.
Well, the Drake thing
that,
is
all that. ahead.
fucking who was Drake? Didn't he call out Pusha T first? Pusha T called him out back, and then fucking. never
Man,
said
that's
shit
the thing
back.
I want to talk about. First, we got to talk about the fucking Michael Jackson track.
Oh yeah. My bad.
All right, so Trippy, I think it was you that brought that story, was it not?
Nope.
Oh, Pickle.
Nope.
It was
It
Ace,
was,
man.
Oh, hey, it was Ace. then how the fuck did you forget that? You were the one that brought the goddamn story.
Well, because the whole fucking drama takes precedence over fucking a stupid fucking track.
All right, yeah, you know what? You have a good point. Here's the fucking quick thing. Drake's putting out an unreleased fucking Michael Jackson track. How he got the fucking rights to do that, I have no idea. I don't really care.
Sucking dick.
All right, moving on.
I
Drama.
agree with Pickle.
Moving on. Drake was recently called out by another rapper, another admittedly shitty rapper called Pusha T, who it turns out this beef goes back like 15 years. It has to do with something with Lil Wayne and shared labels and all that. The start of last month, Pusha T put out a track continuing the beef. And there's been no response from Drake. There have been some comments released from his agent or something like that, saying, "Hey, dude, don't get involved in this. It's gonna make us look bad." As far as I can tell, the recent beef revolves around the fact that Drake uses ghostwriters.
Yeah.
Which, for somebody like a rapper who basically the main talent you fucking got is your lyrics, is pretty embarrassing, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, and what it really boils down to is like, fucking Pusha T has been calling Drake out, saying like, you've been fucking grown up in middle class, like, you know, you're well to do, like
you were on Degrassi.
Yeah, you were on Degrassi. You basically
more famous than any of your peers.
Mm-hmm. You basically bought your motherfucking way into this style, into this fucking genre. You know, like, you didn't do shit. You weren't actually out on the fucking streets. And fucking Drake is sitting there fucking pretty much saying, well, like, you're saying that you're fucking hard, but you saw it in Scarface, and going, oh, well, that's what we should fucking do. And like, it's just like they're trying to measure each other's fucking dicks right now.
Okay, well, I don't see the validity, because you have Will Smith and Queen Latifah, who are both big rappers that both came from upper echelon families.
Yeah, and you know, both of them are pretty bad at rapping.
Yeah, well, and how many times did Queen Latifah or fucking Will Smith talk about fucking, you know, running coke, fucking running gun?
Look at it this way. Look at it this way. One of Drake's most popular songs has the lyrics, "Started at the bottom, now we're here." Drake did not start at the fucking bottom. He started as a fucking kid on Degrassi.
Amazing.
Starting at Degrassi, now we here.
I don't see why rap has to have some sort of you have to come from the streets to.
Well, no,
you do not need to come from the streets, but don't pretend like you do.
Talk about it.
Yes.
Right. You shouldn't talk about it as if it's your experiences. I mean, like, if you're going to sit there and say that you ran coke, you should probably have some experience in running coke, right?
Look at it this way.
To do that, though.
Here's a good way
you don't have to be poor to do that.
Ace is harder than fucking Drake.
Well, I was gonna say, look at it this way. It would be like if somebody's fucking, you know, having the whole stolen valor fucking aspect. Like, I will fucking call them out, and I will fucking shit on them and make them feel like an insignificant fucking piece of shit.
That's exactly it. It's like if I became a rapper and I started rapping about my military career.
Yeah, I would fucking destroy you.
Okay, I get what you're saying now. Okay, I was gonna say, because I was middle class and selling drugs to the school principal, so I don't understand how you could say that, you know, drug running is something that's no.
I was middle class. I was middle class and then sold a bunch of. I'm not middle class anymore, but I was. I sold a bunch.
Yeah, you inhale that vape.
But no, it's more. If you're gonna be a rapper, you can be a fucking storyteller and be blatant about the fact that you're just telling fucking stories, or you can try and be legitimate and just tell stories about your real life, or you can mix the two. But if you're gonna do that, be honest about it. And Drake isn't.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So,
yeah, he's a fake.
Yeah, just don't act like you fucking did something when you didn't.
But not only that, he's been confronted by somebody, which in in the rap music industry means a whole lot.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
He's been confronted about the fact that he doesn't write his own shit.
Well, it's like
He's been confronted about the fact that he's got a secret baby he ain't told nobody about, and that he ain't been taken care of.
and this feud also reminds me of the whole Rick Ross fucking shit. Like
there's been a lot of Rick Ross shit.
Like, so the real like Rick Ross, the freeway Ricky Ross, like he was fucking in prison, like it fucking and like dude stole his name. Like the guy who calls himself Rick Ross, he straight up fucking stole fucking lyrics from people because he was a prison guard. And like, yeah,
that is one of the big things with
Rick Ross,
and he was called out for it frequently.
Yep, and look how quick that motherfucker
he was on the quote unquote other side until suddenly he got lyrics, and now he was a man with criminal history that didn't exist.
And as soon as people called him out, he fucking straight up disappeared.
He did not disappear. He bitched and moaned about it for quite some time before disappearing.
Go on, get that money and run. That's what he did, damn it. He was like, nope, fuck that shit, I'm out, bye. Changed his name, back to Steely McSteelerson, and nobody can find him. It's crazy. Steely McRapperson.
No, and that's it's how it goes in a lot of music. I understand people will always steal from shit. Like last we were talking about Child, This Is America versus American Pharaoh, a song that came before it.
Wow.
With Rick Ross, it's kind of a special level of shit. Because, now that you mention it, there is kind of a good chance a lot of those lyrics came from the shit he confiscated from inmates.
Yep. Or just fucking like sitting outside of the cell and overhearing them as they're writing the lyrics.
Well, talk about different stories about like what they fucking did, because like the guy who fucking is quote unquote Rick Ross, the fucking rapper, he was, like I said, a prison guard. Well, he was a prison guard for Miami-Dade. Well, Miami, of course, they're running fucking coke through there like a motherfucker. So you're gonna fucking pick up stories. So him talk about Noriega and shit like that, like, motherfucker, you probably didn't do jack motherfucking shit.
Well, no, and he might have had a chance to smuggle some coke through the prison. But he presents it as I was an inmate and was smuggling. And there's a huge difference.
I was going to say, but we're not talking about keys upon keys. We're talking about maybe a fucking little gram here or
a couple bumps shoved up an asshole.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
Oh, look at that one little girl. She's been running bricks since the time she was like 5.
Death Hyrukin says, it surprised me that a rap song has never been used in a trial as evidence. I forget.
It has.
It was. Yeah,
dude.
There was
several.
It happened.
I was going to say there was at least 3 different situations where that happened, if not more, where they cited the lyrics. And
there was a guy that was actually found guilty of murder.
Yeah.
I can't remember. That was in the late 90s, though.
Yeah, that's the case I'm thinking of. Hispanic guy, right?
Yeah, there was a
I can't
they
remember.
proved just by the lyrics you could prove that the facts about the murder that he knew couldn't have been known by anybody outside of the outside of it, like what I'm saying.
They actually they used it for an episode of CSI, one of these cases.
I think they did. Yeah, it was loosely based off of one.
It happens. If you say for instance I stabbed this guy in the jugular and ripped his fucking throat out. And then it turns out that's not one of the details they've released to the public about that crime.
Yep.
Yeah, you're done. There's artistic expression, and then, hey, you know too much about this shit. There's no way this wasn't you. or at least you were there when it happened.
Right. You witnessed it at the very least. If not, you committed the fucking murder.
Right. Sherman Easy 8 says, how did they get Suge Knight? Probably on one of the many crimes he very obviously committed.
Yes.
And openly.
Yeah, like he made songs about it. He talked about it in videos or in interviews and all kinds of like. No problem talking about being a thug.
He was not caught from his music. He was probably caught from him going, "Well, yeah, I did that thing."
Yeah, he just was like,
here's how I did it. Here's the particular time it was when I did it. I have no alibi.
He's like, it was
no alibi.
9:30 a.m.
Here are my hands. Cuff me. Because Suge Knight, beyond being a piece of shit, was not a smart man.
No. But see, that's part of the reason I really don't like rap. Guy. Yeah, I really don't like rap is because of the type of people that create that music.
Yeah, the blacks.
No, it's the
Perfect. Fucking perfect.
I was going to say the thugs, but okay.
Well, the thugs.
Okay.
Oh, now we're calling black people thugs. That's racist.
No, what's the Mexican guy?
Big
he's
Pun.
in all the movie. No, he's in the
Big
movies
Pun.
and stuff all the time. I want to say K9, but that's not correct.
Pitbull, probably.
Okay, I don't know. He
Like
did the
he
movie
said.
with Bruce Almighty. He was in Bruce Almighty.
Oh, I don't
No
know.
idea.
And he's done wrestling and shit. I can't remember, but there's a whole lot of those
She doesn't
guys.
remember the foreigners' names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't remember brown people's names. It's cool.
Totally xenophobic. Totally.
See, I can at least.
I would have just said racist, but bonus points for creativity.
I don't care what style of music it is, whether it's like bachata, whether it's fucking rap, whether it's fucking, any style of music, country, like it all tells some sort of story. And like, that's what I can appreciate about it. Like, yes, a good fucking beat, a good fucking melody, like all that shit does help it. But if you actually listen to it, like, don't take it as like, oh, this motherfucker went hard talking shit about that person. Like, but you listen to the stories of it. Like, I think that's a beautiful thing about the creativity of music.
Well, okay, yeah, except for that when the chorus of a song is "We gonna rape some white bitches tonight."
We gonna rape some white bitches tonight.
Yeah, that's really a story I don't care to hear.
That sounds like a song I would have wrote. Schmeichel would have done backup.
Okay, yes, there is rap from like the late 80s, early 90s that I liked, Queen of Shade. Sharati.
What if it was
Man, she's sitting there talking about Vanilla Ice and the fucking Beastie Boys.
Well,
fuck that. The Beastie Boys, yes. Vanilla Ice,
The
hell
fat boys
no.
are back.
Dun, 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 dun.
And
what about
the
Vanilla Ice is tomorrow, damn it.
I didn't mean to give you mushrooms, girl.
No idea.
Song,
That's Eminem.
that's Eminem. Yeah, that song is funny, but like really, I don't much care for rap. It's boring to
I
me.
remember in the 90s, I remember that song. You down with OPP? Yeah, you know
me.
Yeah.
And it stood for other people's pussy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. You're talking about
I'm the Leprechaun gangsta.
Project Wise. Obviously, you're down with OPP.
Yeah, other people's pussy, man.
It's other people's property, I thought, but
It
Well,
is.
maybe.
It's other people's property, not pussy.
Yeah.
It's pussy.
It was either Project
maybe
Wise
you're
or Dead Celebrity Status. Same two guys.
yeah, okay. I like the older stuff, like Run DMC,
Hold on.
Digital Underground.
let me-
Digital
let me-
Underground was one I liked.
Let me go a little bit.
I did like Digital Underground quite a bit.
Sex Packet's album was fantastic.
Let me go a little bit older. Hold on.
Naughty by nature.
A little older,
was
okay.
naughty by nature.
Kiss
Hit
me
me, baby.
back. Fucking.
Curtis Mayfield.
Okay.
I don't know.
Blues?
No, that's not blues. Are you kidding me? Curtis Mayfield? He is not fucking blues.
Well,
Pusher Man?
maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm not.
I think it's Superfly. Have you ever
Man,
seen?
well,
Okay,
we got
Superfly.
so many
Either
people
way-
in the
either
chat
way,
that
guys.
actually know this song. I didn't know Project Wise and Dead Celebrity Status had actually gotten that much of an audience.
Well, there's a thing called Google as well.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they're just
Don't
doing
forget about that. Never forget the Googles.
Yeah, no, but I don't like modern or current year style rap. The mumble stuff and the thug. Let's go talk about doing drugs and hurting people and all that shit. That's not my scene.
But Schmackle, it says that OPP was done by Naughty by Nature.
That's what it was.
And maybe they just made a reference to a song that I don't know. I heard it first from one of those two bands. I want to say it was Dead Celebrity Status. It was something like you're touching other people's property. Obviously, you're down with OPP. That makes your nature naughty.
Yeah, Naughty by Nature. Nature naughty.
Oh, yeah. I guess
Naughty by Nature sounds correct.
they must have been referring to that.
Stuff.
Probably, dude.
Well, without a doubt, there's no way that's a coincidence.
Right?
Yeah.
You had to like toot your own horn back in the 90s when he did a song. Like, how many times did Ice Cube say his own name? And, like, how many times did NWA do it?
I gotta grab a new drink. You know what? Blue Collar Canuck in the chat is in charge. You guys all listen to him. I'll be right back.
No monkey.
Speak of peace. Tema, I don't know if you saw it, but I shared the link in the little.
Yeah, I can't get it to have any sound for me right now. I think it's because I'm using headphones and it's Hangouts and it's
that is Curtis Mayfield. Like, he's one of the fucking, like, I love him. I love his fucking voice because, like, he used a good fucking rhythm of bass guitar. But, like, the way that he spoke and the way that he sang, it was one of, like, the forefront people of fucking, like, what we think of rap. Like, what rap slowly evolved into the 80s. And, like, he was big in the 70s, and, like, I've been dying to fucking bring him up.
Okay. Okay. I can't get it to play.
But if anybody in the chat is wondering, I am talking about the song Pusher Man by Curtis Mayfield. Look it up. It's a great fucking song. Yeah.
Song.
Yeah, you know that song, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think I know this song, but I can't hear it. Like, my computer will not produce sound for the song, so I'm going to have to fight with it later.
Superfly.
I know Superfly.
That's what it says on the cover.
Yeah, I know
That's what it
Superfly.
says on the cover is Superfly. So was that for the movie?
It was slightly for the movie. They adapted it into, like, the movie that, like, they stole it. Yeah. He already came out with it, and, like, but Blue Collar Canuck in the chat said rap evolved into pure gangsta garbage.
Oh yeah, want some? Go have some weed.
Yes, thank you.
I'm playing it so I can hear
That's
it. You know,
exactly
I'm
it.
pushing, man. Yeah, I've heard this song a million times, dude. My stepdad also had a lot of blaxploitation films.
Blaxploitation? What the fuck?
You don't know about blaxploitation?
Oh,
I thought that was just Elvis.
No, blaxploitation was shit like God damn it, what was it? Blackula. There was a character named
Blackula was one of the best fucking ever.
There was another one.
Is that sort of one with Snoop Dogg?
No, dude.
No.
What was
this is in the 70s. But there was another one. What was that guy's name? There was Bruce Leroy. He himself was pretty much just a ripoff of Bruce Lee, of course. But there's a black dude, and he did karate.
That was
and
a
he
great
fought. What was the name of the movie? He fought.
Bruce Leroy Brown, I thought.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Bruce Leroy Brown.
Blue Collar Canuck, because apparently Schmeckel said that he's in charge. He goes, honestly, in my own opinion, Ice-T was the last good rapper.
And now Blue Collar Canuck is never in charge again.
Because
Ice-T was garbage.
I knew that was going to happen.
Ice-T was a piece of shit.
Talk about being a cop killer and then plays a cop on TV. Yeah.
There you go. Bruce Leroy wasn't the last dragon.
No. See, I can still respect Ice Cube. I mean, he was fucking rapper turned fucking children's movie actor. But,
showed up the Shogun.
He was good at what he did.
No, Ice-T. Ice-T talked about being a fucking cop killer. And then he started playing cop.
Yeah, but he's never committed a fucking crime in his life. He doesn't even have a goddamn speeding ticket.
Yeah.
And that's not even that. He wasn't a good rapper.
He wasn't a rapper.
Worse actor.
Ice-T was a rapper for a small amount of time.
Did like a couple of songs. Dude.
NWA?
No.
No,
Or not
that's
NWA. No, not NWA.
Come on. You got this.
Fucking trippy.
Are you talking about?
Oh, look, I know Pickle knows. I know that Pickle knows.
The thing where they all wore spandex, because you're thinking of Dre, not Ice-T.
No. Ice-T was part of a rap group for a while, and it wasn't NWA, but it was another acronym. And he did a couple of songs with 911 is a joke. Fear of a Black Planet. That group. That's how he got his start, if memory serves.
This nigga right here.
I know he did some shit with Tone Loc, Body Count.
His group was called Body Count, dude.
Maybe that's what it was.
He also did some shit, I think, with Gangstar.
All I'm seeing right here is Body Count, Rhyme Syndicate, Universal Zulu Nation.
Maybe it was NWA?
Analog Brothers and Uncle Jam's Army.
It was not NWA.
Public Enemy. That's the one. That's the one that he did stuff with, was Public Enemy.
Okay, he did some shit with Public Enemy.
And that's kind of how he got his big break.
He was not part of Public Enemy, though.
Yeah, no, he did collaborations with them. He wasn't actually a part of them.
Yeah, no, that's just how I learned about Ice-T, and that's how I heard he got his big break.
Yeah, it probably is. I could see that being it. Public Enemy was huge for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And they ended up doing that.
They were so big that they were in that small group that crossed over with the rock stars. Public Enemy did a song with Anthrax.
Anthrax and Aerosmith.
Hey, when we get to the 80s, Aerosmith was Run DMC. I was just gonna actually say that when we get into the 80s, we can talk about that because I think that was in like 89. It might have been in 90 though when Aerosmith.
That was like 90 or 91. That was like 90 or 91.
It is an important topic because not only was that
max 3 weeks.
Not only was that when you started to see the fucking crossovers, but it's kind of when you started to see the two meld together in a real way, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then in the 90s as well. I think late 90s, early 2000s, you had one of Schmeichel's favorite singers to this day, Kid Rock.
Man, I'm not saying he's a bad singer. I'm saying that he did not take the opportunities that were presented to him.
I like Kid Rock.
He went into his fucking rock thing. He was doing all right, and then he had an opportunity given to him by fucking Eminem to go back into the rap. Which he was never an amazing rapper, but for the time, he was good.
And Tim,
especially for a fucking white guy.
You're right though. Public Enemy.
He was the fucking white guy that wasn't.
Yes, but then he would have had to deal. But he would have had to deal with fucking Eminem if he didn't want to.
Ace has something to say.
Public Enemy and Anthrax did do a song, and it was a decent fucking song that they fucking collaborated on. It was Bring the Noise.
Bring the Noise, and it was an anti-racism song.
Cool.
Anthrax also, as a result of that, or before that, maybe I can't remember the order, did "I'm the Man," where they very poorly rapped, but it was an entertaining song. But no, with Kid Rock, he would have had to deal with Eminem being more popular, etc., etc. Kid Rock could have been what Yellow Wolf is now. Eminem picked up and made big.
What the fuck is a yellow wolf?
He passed on that.
Is that
kept on with this fucking rock and roll thing until he got bored of that and went to country, and then
died.
What? He's one out there right now. He's
I think he's just still doing country, isn't he? Is Schmeckel dead for anyone else?
Yeah, he wrote about it
one
really
second.
bad. Arigato rowboat to Schmeckel.
That works. Rowboat.
Roboto.
I keep seeing this commercial on TV, and it's ready to robot, and that's Schmeckel.
This should be better.
There we go.
Yellow Wolf is a hick rapper, like Kid Rock was, but he's a lot more. I wouldn't say he's more successful than Kid Rock. Kid Rock has built up his name over decades, but
I wouldn't call
he's grown a hell of a lot quicker than Kid Rock has.
Dude, I wouldn't call fucking Kid Rock a hick rapper. He's from Michigan.
Yeah, he's from Detroit. His angle's always been the fucking.
Okay, the motherfucker's not from Detroit. He's from Michigan.
Okay.
People saying that.
He's always claimed.
I thought he said he was from Detroit. I don't pay attention. I don't fucking care.
No, he's from Michigan, which is in which Detroit is in, but he's from outside of Detroit. Every single one of these rappers is from outside of Detroit. Eminem's from 8 Mile, which is at least a mile fucking outside of Detroit. Like, Detroit ends at 7 Mile. So, I mean, you can't really fault him for saying,
I don't give a fuck. If you're a mile out of Detroit.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You can't really fault him. But
never mind. That's always the angle he's played up, right?
Fucking, I think Kid Rock is from like Novi or something like that. He's like 40 miles away from Detroit.
But I mean, that's if it's the closest city, I could still see claiming it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's also mentioned places around here, like that in one of his songs where he says cheap dinners at Winners, like that bar is down the road from me. I've driven past it.
But yeah, Yellow Wolf is actually a hick. He's from Alabama.
Hey. I bet Boondock sounds better than
Gadsden, Alabama, I think.
Where'd Pickle go?
He had to go to work.
He had to go to his actual job to drop out. Hey, you should look him up, Trippy. I know you mainly listen to like, Juggalo shit. But
I just said that Boondocks is probably better than Yellow Wolf. But who knows? He probably isn't. Who knows? I'll find out.
Well, see, for me, a lot of it's the lyrical skill and the flow, right?
Right, gotcha. Yeah, they're probably very, very different.
I would assume so. I would assume Boondock, Yellow Wolf are different.
Well, Boondocks has a whole, backstory to his character. You know what I mean?
So does Yellow Wolf lately. He got married. He tried to marry. What was her name?
That's a good name for a chick.
He tried to marry some pop star.
Oh.
I can't remember her name right now, but he got it. He got her name tattooed across his forehead.
Oh, Jesus Christ, with the face tattoo.
Yeah. Well, he's got multiple face tattoos, but I mean, this is objectively the worst one.
So her name is Retarded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. I can't remember her fucking name right now. She was pretty big at one point. It actually should be easy to find.
All right.
Fifi Dobson.
Fifi
Dobson and got Fifi tattooed across his forehead.
Okay, have people still not learned the rule that you don't put your partner's name on your person in tattoo because that is like the death knell of your relationship?
Like my mom has a tattoo of my stepdad's name on her arm, and
I would get the missus name tattooed.
Because don't. It'll ruin your marriage. Don't do it.
No, I'm not saying I'd actually do it, but I wouldn't avoid it for all the regular reasons, like, hey, you're gonna split eventually, and then you got your ex's tattoo. Because either way, she's the mother of my kid, right?
Yeah.
But I do think the missus would go, "What the fuck? You got my name tattooed on you?"
Yeah.
that's fucking
That's
weird.
kind of gay. Yeah.
Dude, it's like with my mom and my stepdad. She got his name tattooed on her. And then years, after that, she kept asking him, she's like, when are you going to get that tattoo of my name on your arm? And he just kept refusing. And then one day he was like, you know what? It's going to fucking hurt too much. I just can't do it.
That is the dumbest fucking idea. Never get a fucking like relationship fucking name on you.
It's a death
fucking
knell.
tattooed.
Unless you want to split up, don't do it.
Like I will be fucking honest. Like the only fucking names that I have on my body is either people who have died that I was super close to, like friends or family, or my children.
Yeah.
Like besides that, like I refuse to get my wife's fucking name on me. Like fuck that stupid shit.
Oh, dude, I told you about my uncle, right?
Puckered asshole is tattooed with the word Trudeau, but I don't.
thought your asshole.
Dude,
That's just representative. I mean, that's just you trying to get rid of him.
Honestly, Smackle, I would have expected you to have a tattoo on your ass of like W, and you have the O being your asshole, and then W on the other cheek. So that way,
God, you're telling that joke wrong. I need to fix you. No, I'm just fucking with you.
Fuck off. You see,
It's a
you-
W on.
It's
It's a
just
W
even-
on. It's a W on each cheek, and that way, when you stand on your head, Schmeckle, it'll say "mom."
No, no. See, you fucked it up because the way I tell it is have a W on
You're
each
spinning
cheek.
too much.
See, Franz, I told you nobody cares about the Jews. Okay, I'm gonna steal the punchline again. There we go.
All right, fine. Fuck off.
Anyway, we're gonna shut this shit down. Fucking Trippy, do the Smosh thing.
Trippy
Goodbye,
was a
cunts.
douchebag.
Oh, that was the wrong thing. Yeah, tonight we had Ace of Skulls 11558. We had Full Metal Pickle. We had Atem of the Hun. We had multiple Schmeckles, and we had myself being Trippy Poop or Trippy Cast. And
Now,
we
I
talked about
am going to
W6.
take a moment here to point out that everybody currently here, and I think Pickle as well, have their own shows. Ace of Skull over on his channel. Ace, you should really consider changing your channel name so it doesn't have a bunch of numbers.
I am going to do that, and like I'm waiting. I'm so close to getting fucking 100 subscribers. I'm only 30 people off.
Yeah, that'll give you the custom link and all that. It's not actually that useful.
Well,
I mean, still,
yes.
anybody watching, try and bring them up to 100. But it's not that useful. I never use that link. I just copy link.
Copy
and
and
it
paste.
just
But
gives
I
it.
am gonna kill off the numbers. The numbers are
You
fucking
got to get
useless.
rid of that shit. And not only that, it makes it hard for people to find you.
Yes. So, and like that's the other thing. Like I'm just trying to fucking boost my goddamn subscribers right now, motherfucker. So
But you guys need to go sub to him because he has some really interesting
Yep.
streams and he puts up interesting information.
yes,
Exactly, and I'm about to share his channel link into the
Yeah,
side chat on the YouTubes.
I do.
Yeah,
stream-
Trippy, do that for all three.
Atem of the Hunt.
Yes.
Well, I do a stream every Sunday night.
It's like 3 things you're asking me to do, you bastard.
Trippy, let him finish. It'll give you time to do those 3 things.
Surprise, surprise. You let somebody finish and something might happen. God damn it. Wrong
Hey,
fucking spot.
motherfucker. Start
Wrong
over.
spot. Wrong fucking
Start from-
spot.
dude.
Put it in the
No,
goddamn.
I put it there on purpose so that I could get all 3 links.
Goddamn
together.
Trippy, you lazy ass motherfucker.
Why don't you, dude? I misheard what you said. Could you start at the beginning of the stream, please?
Yes. So tonight on musical literacy, we have no, but I am trying to get rid of the numbers. I do have a stream on Sunday nights where like we will find a topic. Like the last one was conspiracy theories. We had cognitive thought on there.
That was fun.
Yeah, with Pinoid, it was a good fucking time. Sometimes like if Trippy's having fucking drama llama with somebody that we shall not be.
Woo!
We'll do a stream like that. Yeah, but I typically do it at about 8 p.m. Central Time 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys are inclined to fucking hop on there, fucking I would love to see you guys, and even I'll pull some of you guys in on that shit.
Well, please do pull me in again if you ever do the conspiracy theory shit, and I can talk about actual space.
Well,
I have a second bit of advice, Ace.
Yes.
Other than removing the numbers, also when you're shilling yourself, do it more quickly.
Well,
that was like a long form explanation.
As I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm also signing to my wife different things that's going on about our family. So
Wait, is your wife deaf?
No, she's not deaf, but we both know ASL. Like we could
American sign language.
We could have whole conversations like without the kids' fucking knowledge. Like my wife has a deaf side of her family. I'm starting to lose my fucking hearing. Like I have fucking hearing problems. So I've taken up sign language and shit. So yeah.
There we go. Anyway, on to Atema. Trippy, don't ask him questions. Go ahead and ask your question, Trippy. I'm sorry for yelling at you.
I was gonna say, what's the sign for make me a sandwich?
Hey, you just kind of rub your balls.
Okay.
Isn't this make?
No, it depends. Like that depends on actually who you're talking to in the dialect of the area. Like this could actually mean like I'm doing dishes or I'm in the kitchen. It just depends on like who you're talking to, what it's about.
All right, Ace. Well, we've gotten to the point where you're teaching me things.
Yeah. No.
But I thought you learned something from Tila, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Atema.
Man, she only taught me. Did I say Atema again?
It's all good. I'm used to East Coasters saying it.
I'm not an East Coaster. I'm a Canadian.
It's the East Coast of the Americas.
But Tama, what the fuck do you do on your channel?
I do a little bit of low-hanging fruit, highbrow, poking at progressives when I read articles and when I get the time, and my kids will shut the fuck up. And then I do streams in the middle of the night when everybody else is really drunk and I don't get a word in edgewise.
Yay. And
there we go. Ace, do you see how that took less than a minute?
No.
I was going to say she also talks about waterbed universe theory with Pinoid sometimes.
Don't remind me.
All right, now Trippy, tell people about the Trippy Cast and where it's going to be located until tomorrow when you get your fucking shit.
Trippy Cast.
Well, the Trippy Cast, I don't stream on weekends anyways on my channel. I'm usually on yours from Thursday through Friday.
Oh, and well, that meant you're going to have it well before your next stream.
Yep, hopefully. I mean,
I trust guaranteed. You got no strike. I can guarantee it's just until they finally process that fucking stream.
Process.
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 Goddamn.
Process.
Why does it say preset?
Presets your stream. Let me check right now. Let's see what we have here.
It might even be good now. Let's end this stream with some good fucking news.
I was going to say, either way, I'm TrippyCast, and I stream at 9 p.m. every fucking day except for Thursday through fucking Sunday. And y'all mostly know me, and I still can't stream. So, yep. It says
worst case scenario.
If you need to, you can use my channel.
That's okay. My channel's open.
Right. Well, I was Pinoid made me a manager on the Bubble, so I could just start streaming on there whenever I want, as long as nobody else is.
There you go. That was a terrible idea. Pinoid,
right?
Make better choices. With that, God damn it, Tama! I said with that. That means we're ending.
He did.
With that, we're gonna shut the goddamn fucking stream down. This has been musical literacy. We had all these cunts. They were great and all that shit. In about 50 minutes, we got what do we got? The Blackman button. Where we'll be talking about a few different channels, trying to shill them out, shit like that. We got Brockus, your boy Pat, and Tama here showing up for that tonight.
Nice.
And Pickle's back.
And Pickle's back just as we end.
And Pickle does music reviews. Go sub to him too.
Yeah, sub to him as well. So remember, as always, clean your cocks, clean your cunts, and rinse and repeat. And if you have time, repeat again. Y'all's filthy.